Hi, everyone. I'm James Protin. I'd like to give a special thank you to our sponsors for the podcast. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the podcast. Once again, we're coming to you from, well, not live, but we are alive, but we're not live because, Nick needs to be, edit things and,
in case I say bad words.
Right. So with us today from Chico Bocello in beautiful downtown Washington is Carole DeAngelo. Carole is the advertising director for the Observer Reporter, the Herald Standard, the Almanac, the Greene County Messenger, and Reimagine Main Street Digital Agency, and any other newspaper that just happens to be hanging around.
Just throw it at me. I'll take it.
Right.
I'm good.
So she is also going to be a featured speaker at the Peel Women's Luncheon. That's
so excited.
Pittsburgh's Elevated and Emerging Leaders, which is really cool.
Wait, does elevated mean I get to stand on something so I look taller, or does it just mean I'm elevated in my speaking ability?
We can stand on a box if you want.
asking.
You can stand on a box.
I would prefer.
I am going to get so much heck for that. I forgot to turn my.
I felt him staring at you. It wasn't great for me.
I'm not even going to make eye contact with him now at this point because it's just going to go bad.
I see him.
It's going to go bad.
It's making me nervous.
So welcome. Thank you for joining us.
You're welcome.
It's been a struggle for me to get you here.
I know. Wow, calling me out in the first 30 seconds.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Holy
but
mackerel.
I thought I was your favorite, and I asked you how many times, and finally you got around to it.
I actually got fear of missing out. I was like, ooh, my friend Lynn, my friend Sarah, what? Why did they get ahead of me? And it's because I blew you off a minute or two.
Pretty much.
I'm sorry.
Pretty much. I don't want to say because somebody's here, but
Yeah,
I actually asked you before.
Oh, now she's giving you the stink eye because I can feel it.
See, I can't win. So you see the predicament you put me in.
I put you in.
You
put yourself in the first one with the phone, but this one is my fault.
I did.
I'm sorry.
Well, that's okay.
So I'm sorry.
Okay.
So here we are.
I'll forgive you for that, but I'm never going to get forgiven.
We're going to buy her coffee or something after.
We will.
Yeah. So they're both giving us the stink eye.
I know.
Here we are. But we're together.
We're
all together where we're supposed to be.
We are.
Right?
Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. How are you?
I'm wonderful.
Hey,
How
listen.
are you?
I'm great, but I just saw the last one where you had am I going after the mayor of Pittsburgh? Because really, that timing on my behalf is very poor.
No, that's down the road.
Because I saw some photos, those giant
Weren't
photos.
those that was such a cool
Who did
thing.
that?
Tom Mosser, Mosser. He's a Pittsburgh artist.
Right, I've heard his name.
Done things. Listen, the photo, the painting he did of the mayor.
Yeah, amazing.
He did it with a basketball.
Shut up.
He's done murals in 14 or 15 major sports stadiums and arenas. He'll paint with a football.
Come on.
Oh, yeah. The guy's he's amazing.
Well, because what people don't know about me, which is kind of funny, is I was an art major.
Really?
Yeah, so here's a funny fun fact. There's a lot of funny fun facts. I went to WVU.
Okay.
To major in art. And I want you to think about that for once.
It's a great day to be a mountaineer.
It's a great day to be a mountaineer majoring in art.
In art.
Like,
that's
my
awesome.
poor mother. Like, come on, Mom. I mean, she believed me, and it was okay. I did go to art class. It's a great class to sleep through. Sorry, Mom. God rest her soul. But my point is, so the art side of me, that is, so, can you imagine how hard that is? I know how hard that is.
It's crazy hard. And just to think of, but it's very simple stuff. It's hard, but it's simple at the same time.
Right.
And he just flows. But it was such a powerful experience because I don't have a drop of artistic blood anywhere in my body. So I'm very impressed with artists and creatives to begin with. And I didn't realize how vibrant and deep the culture, the arts community in Pittsburgh really is.
It is. And so that's part of why I love our region is because of the art side of it. But I think it would be really cool to bring that art division and something like that into Washington.
And he would bring that exhibit here. I mean, he really would. This guy is just amazing. If we have the platform for him, he will. And listen, this guy's open to just about anything, and he does a lot for charity. And
well, that's the part about this community that we're sitting in downtown Washington, in the speakeasy part of Chico Bocello, which is so unbelievably cool.
It's very cool.
We have a lot of meetings about the holiday market right at this table.
go.
So this is where the
There
magic
you
kind of
go.
happens. But
Yeah.
secret stuff, that's why it's the speakeasy. But for me, and we could just lead into this, a part of what I'm so passionate about is this community. So my career has taken a lot of twists and turns, which I'm actually going to be talking about on August 2nd in the rock bottom of the waterfront. But I have reinvented myself really twice. I'm not going to steal the speaking of that speaking engagement, but part of what has made me really passionate about my career is this community, because I'm not from here. So I'm originally from West Virginia. Okay, here we go. Teeth. I'm wearing shoes. I'm not married to my cousin. Just so that we've covered all the basics about the West Virginia.
You've
True.
You've just crushed so many
myths.
The
West Virginia myths. Anywho, WVU, Mountaineer. Okay, so, but for me, I came to this community in 1998 for a part of the rebirth of Washington Crown Center. So it was formerly the Franklin Mall.
Right.
So, the long-standing Washingtonians still call it the Franklin Mall, and it's
absolutely.
it jabs me right, like it's like, all right, but we
yeah.
spent $250,000 to change the name to Washington Crown Center. Whatever you call it, I just wanted you to shop there. But for me, and I will say this, like it was something to come to this community and see how passionate people were about their town, Little Washington, as it's called everywhere else, right?
Little Washington, absolutely.
So we renovated that mall, which was amazing. It was an amazing experience. And my best friend actually said when I left the mall to go to the Galleria that some of my blood was in the mortar of the renovation. And I felt that. But it was the people here. And 20 plus years later, I've lived here. I met my life partner and the person that makes me want to do more. And my life changed because of this community and the people in it. So when you said if we have a platform or a space for him, there's so many little hidden gems in Washington County. And we have space for him and that art community. So
we need to make that happen.
We're going
definitely to make that
All
happen.
right, right here. We're vowing right here, right now.
Absolutely. In
Pinky
front of
swear.
witnesses.
Witnesses.
In front of witnesses and Nick.
All right, and Nick.
And I have to tell you, since you brought up your amazing partner, Becca, who's here. Thank you for joining us. I have to tell you something. You guys inspire me so much.
Really?
And I tell you, every time you post something, I tell you how much I love you. And that's sincere. Because you can see the love. And you can see that you guys are happy together. You make each other happy. I'm an old man, so I'm a walking cliche. So I'm going to say it.
Same.
You complete each other, right?
Yeah,
so I mean,
absolutely.
you're so good together, and it makes people around you feel good about themselves.
Well, thank you for saying that. And as corny as we are, we are that way. But I will tell you, our personalities are literally could not be more bipolar opposite. So we are literally night and day, not in just appearance, but in everything. As calm as she is, it's as hyper as I am. As methodical as I am, it's as creative as she is. But part of what was really special to me about being here was not just meeting her, but the surrounding people who supported us to be together. Because, in 1998, it wasn't so easy to be gay, right?
You're exactly right.
It's still not. I mean,
it's still not.
No.
But it has gotten better.
Great
I think
strides.
It has gotten better.
Huge
right?
strides, absolutely.
So how did you guys meet? Can we talk about that?
Oh, sure we can.
How did you meet?
So we met through one of our very best friends, Michael Pasalacqua.
Michael's the best.
Owner of Angela's, for those of you who don't
give
know.
a plug. Give
him a plug.
Great restaurant.
Yeah,
the
great
best Italian
restaurant,
restaurant, at least in this part of the
for
world.
sure.
Maybe in southwestern PA.
Absolutely. I would love some flatbread right now, but whatever. We can work on that for the next one.
We will. Absolutely.
So we met through him, and he said that he just wanted us to meet because he knew our dynamic personalities, and he thought we would be lifelong friends. And
that is awesome.
And listen, something you talked about from the very beginning, what was the cherry on top for me wasn't just her. It was Christian, her son.
Yes, absolutely.
And he was one when I met her. And, people say, wait a minute, he's 23, so you've been with him. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you guys raised him.
Well.
And that's, listen, I'm very sincere when I say this. This young man I met him through my friend Mark Alterisi, a lifelong friend of mine. And he introduced me to Christian, and I immediately was just blown away by his maturity and his awareness of people and how he just grasped who I am.
Absolutely.
The first minute he met me,
Yeah.
and he knew he related to me
Yes.
on a very personal level. He's
Old
just a
soul, man.
Exactly. What an amazing young man, and kudos to you both for.
Thank you.
This is the world needs more Christians.
Well,
believe me.
and he had a lot of influences, both on his dad's side, on his mom's side, and on my side. My
Right.
mom was from day one. Also
And we'll get
fell
into
in
stuff
love. Yeah,
because,
that's a
I mean,
whole,
that's
a subtopic.
that's
That can
an
be its
extra
own-
show all in
Yeah,
itself.
absolutely. But so part of why I love it here is that certainly my family that we've created, but it's this community and the giving back and all the special. I've worked in Pittsburgh, I've worked in Mount Lebanon, I've worked in Wheeling. I've seen a lot of different communities, and there's nothing like this one, and I mean that because
There really
I came
isn't.
back. I
There
came
really
back,
isn't.
and they're really. I mean,
Yeah.
everywhere upstairs right now, there's a whole table of people who are trying to make a difference in this community.
Exactly.
We knew almost everybody at the table, and I got to
Yep.
meet a new person. So I'm like, oh, great.
That's
another
awesome.
Right.
It's exactly right.
But I feel very strongly and passionately, and the timing was exactly as it was supposed to be for you and I, because there's a lot on my heart about what's happening in the world. And I am not remotely ever going to be the one to talk politics. I work for a newspaper. I don't talk politics. It's not
Right.
even my style.
Sure.
Because you can believe what you believe, and I can believe what I believe, and we're not going to fight about it ever. Well, you and I would never fight, but
Exactly. But that's right. Okay.
Yeah.
It's just like I'm blessed with friends. The Mayor Greene and I, right?
Yeah.
We can talk about race respectfully to each other. We can
Absolutely.
talk about the issues and be open. And it's just all of that, right? Is if we don't have those conversations,
right.
okay, nothing will ever change.
Nothing.
Right? Young people need to see people like Mayor Greene and myself who.
Yeah.
They need to see us having those conversations.
Absolutely.
They need to see that we can disagree and
Yep.
we can still respect each other. Okay. So it doesn't matter what you believe or I believe.
Right.
It matters that we're human beings and we want the same thing for each other and for our communities.
That's exactly, and I think that's also what's so special about our relationship, mine and Becca's, because we may not even have the same political beliefs at times, but we can always agree to disagree, and we take
Right.
away something from the other one's viewpoint. I mean, I may pound mine in a little harder and be a lot louder, and she may want to maybe ignore me and choke me on some days. No, but really,
Yeah, I get it.
But I think that's also.
But that's a
part of-
relationship, right? That's
well,
a marriage.
It is.
That's a relationship.
And
That's what it is. Give and take. And
Right, and it's also why that's how we raise Christian. He has his beliefs, but he can be open, like you said.
Right.
He can grasp. But for me, as a person in a society, working for a newspaper, doing all the things that I do, being on these different boards and things, it's what drives me, because what I want to see is that people realize that no matter how bad you think you have it, it's not that bad. I mean, it
Right.
certainly can be, we've undergone a lot of, I could talk about suicide awareness. My brother committed suicide a handful of years ago in 2015. And
that impacted you because that's still here.
It's
I mean,
always
it's still,
here.
And
every
that's-
day, if someone said, I had conversations with my staff this week about they're in their 20s and what the world is impacting them,
Right.
and what's bothering them and why it's bothering them. And it caused me to pause. I drove home from work and thought, how am I leading them? They need to feel that they can come to me. I'm glad we had the conversation, but there's so much heaviness on people's hearts.
Right.
So for me, there are things I want to talk about and things in life that I want to make a difference about. I want people to realize that, yes, you have this right here. And yes, this is bad for you, but someone else has it this bad. And
Right.
there are resources. There are people that can help you. There are places you
Absolutely.
can go. Don't feel desolate. So everything that we do, whether it's these giant events at the Meadows or small events
Right.
that we do, that All For Her event for women, there are people out there that can help you. And
Sure.
so that's part of what my personal platform is, but it trickles into my work.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have the luxury
Absolutely.
of working
It
for a
always blurs
newspaper.
together. Right.
Absolutely. And, I want to say this about that. And I say this about that all the time. You can have your feelings about local media, any of it, all
Sure.
of it, right? But in Washington, Pennsylvania, we have a local newspaper and we have a local radio station. I want you to let that sink in for 1 second, how important, critical, and vital that is.
That's exactly right. And even throw in a local community health center.
Oh my
health
gosh,
system,
yes.
right? And we had Brooke and
Yes.
Sarah on, right? And the impact of that organization
Yes.
in this community. And when I say community, I'm talking about Washington County,
Absolutely.
not just Washington.
That's right.
Right? Because I'm Washington County born and raised. Grew up in
Right.
Charleroi, right?
Right.
Been a part of this my whole life, and I feel the same way about the people that
Right.
you do, right? And I see dramatic changes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, not just when you look at the socioeconomic growth in up and down, the up
Right.
and down of Washington County. You know, it's funny because when I was a kid, when I was a young person, growing up in Charleroi, the Mon Valley the Mon Valley supported Washington County,
Right.
Right, because we had steel, we had communities that were robust and all
Right.
these things. That's where everybody went there for whatever you needed, right? Because Southpointe didn't exist. You had these like Washington was
Yeah.
cool and Canonsburg, but the Mon Valley was where industry was. So
That's right.
That all went away. We started to develop over here. Things started to grow here. Southpointe came around. Now, the 79 corridor pretty much is carrying Washington County.
Right.
The other end, the now in some cases forgotten end, is starting to come back a little bit, but it's starting to come back because of the awareness that people like you and your newspaper give to it, right?
Right.
Jeff Catula has always been a supporter of things that are going on down there. He's always been
100%.
that. The paper has always been
100%.
100%. You know, so that type of thing that we didn't always have.
Right.
You know what I mean? Is
and-
now those things have come a long way.
Well, and so that's also part of why I came back. So when I left Washington, I already missed Washington. So, and then I was in Mount Lebanon and I was
Yeah.
at the waterfront and I still missed Washington and I still did some things in Washington. But you hit the nail on the head. There are so many key cogs in that wheel, the Washington
Right.
Health System, the Jeff Catulas, all the people at the Mon Valley that still, the Mark Alterices. I mean, we could go
Absolutely.
on. The
Absolutely.
health systems, of course, the banks, you know, all of the financial institutions that support what we're
Everybody's
doing.
invested. Everybody
That's exactly what I was gonna say.
everybody has invested, right?
Yes.
You know, and it doesn't. We talked a lot about philanthropy with Brooke and Sarah. Obviously with Sarah because
Yeah.
that's her thing. But you know, when you say that word philanthropy, for the longest time here, that was like for the elite, the wealthy people, you
Right.
know. But if I give
Right.
if I give $100 to a foundation, I'm a philanthropist,
That's right.
right?
If you give your
my
time.
yes, you're a
And
philanthropist, right?
well, and I am, in talking about the steel mill and the steel mill mentality, that's something I'm the most proud of. I was born and raised in Weirton, West Virginia, and my entire family, my whole family,
That was the
all
Mon
of them-
Valley South.
That's
It's exactly or
exactly-
Southwest, whatever.
That's
Because
exactly
it
right.
was the same kind of
Your
situation. You get
mentality.
it.
Well, and so I have that mill mentality, that
Mm-hmm.
ethic. There's no ethic like that ethic, and sometimes it's a blessing and a curse because you
Right.
can't stop till it's perfect, done right, you know, all the things. But
Sure.
for me, coming here, it also felt like home,
Right.
because of what you just said.
Yeah.
And when you look at what you just mentioned, part of the give back, you're right. I never thought of that, Jamie, that it's not about the money. It can be about the money, certainly, but it's also about your time.
Right.
And so a lot of these
Because
organizations
that's a lot more personal than
need-
money.
Right.
You know,
well,
it's stroking a
yes.
check is one thing.
Absolutely.
But giving of your heart, giving of your time,
Right,
you know,
right.
that's a lot more personal.
It is, and it's necessary. And
Mm-hmm.
so for the people out there that are struggling today, last week, next week, you know, whatever the case may be, you will get so much fulfillment out of doing something that benefits, whether it's children or the elderly. You know, I
Right.
am constantly thinking about what can we do for the elderly, you know, and we can now
Absolutely.
lead into that. You know, everything I am, my dad died when I was 6 years old. And so I had two brothers that were much older than me. My mom, I was the Scotch baby, so that before Becca blurts it out from across the room, my mom was pushing 41 and my dad was pushing 50.
Oh, jeez.
Right. Oh, geez. Right. So I was the Scotch baby, and my mother loved to tell that story. But what that meant was I was raised with a mom that when my dad passed, that she was always older than everybody else's parents.
Yeah. Right.
Now, that never affected me. She didn't skip a beat. She moved
Sure.
faster than most of them. She was on trend, on fleek, whatever the phrase is of the. But as we got older and she got older and she started to maybe decline a bit, it made me aware that, wait a minute, we've got a lot of things to think about and a lot of things to do and how-tos. And it was Becca, after I asked my mother 27,862 times to move in with us. No.
Not gonna
In
happen.
English, French, and Spanish, one time. Becca says, I'm going to ask your mom. Yes. I'm like, are you kidding me right now? So, yeah, that's a true story, but
So obviously she liked Becca more.
100%.
I mean, it's
you
like, I'm
can't
sorry,
even
but
blame
it's
her.
just-
No, I
come on,
agree.
I mean, look
I'm
at
in
her over there.
support.
She's,
Look
like,
at her. Yeah,
amazing.
much nicer than me. And can cook
I'm starting
it.
to like her a little bit better.
Why?
too,
And she
myself.
cooks and bakes. I have to say,
Whoa,
though.
wait a minute.
Well,
She what?
I don't
Say
want
that again?
wait. I don't want to call it out, but if she was really thinking of us, she would have maybe baked us something. And you, I mean, as our producer here, she could have made a cookie or something. But all right, maybe next time. I mean,
see.
now who's
We'll
getting the
see.
dirty looks?
And I will tell you this.
Yeah.
Miss Lynn, who's in the room, brought me a present.
I didn't bring you a present. My gosh.
Now, I'm going to kind of blame Becca on it,
What
because
kind of present
she
did
should
you
have
get?
thought of that.
What did you get?
I can't tell you. It's kind of a secret.
All right. Well, can I be on again? So there can be cookies and a present. Way to go,
yeah.
Ben. Thanks for making me feel really bad right now. Okay, yeah, she's nothing to say. Anywho, so cookies and presents for the next one. But
Okay.
so back to the elderly, and this whole piece that's on my heart that people don't realize until you have to, and it's a part of my own personal movement, and I don't even know what that means yet. So I'm just saying it on a podcast.
And that's okay.
That,
That's
oh,
okay.
I'm totally okay with. That's why I'm
That's
bringing it
okay.
up. So we move her in. Well, we give up our beautiful townhome that Becca loves so much, and we buy a much bigger house that we do call the Money Pit, because the minute we moved in, 3 days later, everything, and I mean everything, starts to break. But we then moved my mom out of my childhood home she lived in 60 plus years. Oh, yeah.
I didn't realize that. Wow.
That's part of what I'm going to talk about. Plug for my Peel conversation. It's part of where the reinventing comes in. We moved her in because her health was declining.
sure.
And she did have dementia, and she did have a couple of strokes prior to her passing. But it was the caregiving piece that changed me and changed Becca. And I will forever be grateful for that time with her. For me, COVID allowed me to be with my mom for almost a full year before she passed. I'm not glad about COVID, but I'm glad for that time. But I realized, Becca realized, we realized that there's so much that people don't know about caregiving.
Right.
And so for me, Alzheimer's and dementia it's unbelievably difficult. And there's so many things I want to say about it. So there will be a book in my future. I have no clue when that'll be. We have a lot of things on our horizon as a couple, and I am young enough that I'm going to do it. But I know I hear my friends saying, my mom is starting to, my dad is starting to, I don't know what to do.
Sure.
Part of my own personal platform is because the elderly deserves that. They as they're coming to the end of their life, they deserve us to say, what can we do to help them?
Absolutely.
And providing that. So,
Absolutely.
So for me, as a person, every single thing that I am is because of my mom. Every single
That's
thing
wonderful.
that I am.
That's
And
wonderful.
so what I try to do, if you're not friends with me on Facebook, if you are, you know this, but if you're not, please friend me. I try to blend a little humor with a little serious. There's always shenanigans. I'm usually
You're a master at
tripping.
that. You're very good at that.
Well, I mean, it's all truthful. So, like, I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure I'm
absolutely.
going to probably trip and fall on the way out here with all these cords.
Well, I told you I hit my head. Every time I've come down here, I have hit my head right on the sign that says, "Watch your head."
Well, I mean, how tall are you?
6 foot, 6'1", something
So
like that.
I mean, okay, we'll give you that. I mean, it's okay. I mean, every time, like
I
literally
fell off a
every
wall
time.
the other day.
Yeah, do we want to talk about that?
Well, listen, Nick laughed at me.
Oh,
I do. We have to talk about that because
I don't even know how long
I got to
we're
tell this
talking.
story.
Yeah, tell the story.
So,
Are
no,
we
I've been
going to
in-
get a cue when we're too long? Because, I mean, I don't have, I could talk for days.
Just ignore him.
All right.
He'll be
Well,
fine.
he's like,
when
he kinda, like,
he's done,
slinks around.
he'll just turn the light off and leave.
Well,
So
he slinks around. He's really.
Did you notice that?
Yeah, he's like sneaky.
Yeah,
but
he
I
makes
feel
no
him.
noise. He's like a ninja.
No, he's like a ninja.
I say, I told you. He's like
Sort of like the Matrix.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead. Tell them the story
So-
because I want to make sure you're okay.
Well,
and then we're going to talk about what's in this cup when you're done.
I've been in the engineering. Oh yes, I've been in the engineering business 40 years. So I've been in 100 sewage treatment plants. Right.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Well, they're not as bad as you think.
All right.
Once you get past the smell, it's not a big deal.
Okay, I couldn't
because
get
they're
past the
surprising. Other than the actual sewage, they're surprisingly clean. But that's another story for another
right.
day. So we had a tour. We had some CMU students down to the Canonsburg plant, which is GPI, my day job.
Right.
It's the plant we're doing that design, that big project. So
Okay.
we brought some engineering students from CMU down, took them on a tour of the plant. I've been in that plant last 20 years. I can't even tell you how many times. So I'm standing I climb up on the wall, and I'm standing on this railing, and I'm looking over at the process and their sewage, where it's being processed and cleaned. And I started to get a little bit dizzy, and it was really hot the other day. It was
very hot.
It was Wednesday, and it was in the sun, and I didn't eat anything, and I started to get a little lightheaded. So I said, well, I better get off this wall, because the last thing I want to do is fall in there.
Yeah,
so
I'm not a fan of that at all.
I decided that I was going to jump off the wall.
Okay.
And I thought the wall was about 6 feet high. As it turns out, it was like only 2 feet high. So I jumped, and I hit the ground a lot sooner than what I actually thought I would. So I kind of rolled. I tried to be inconspicuous, but somebody started to laugh at me.
He's laughing right now.
I know he is. I know. I'm not even going to look at him, because I'll tell you what. It was like, didn't even say, Jim, you okay? It's just like,
you didn't even ask him?
Didn't even ask if I
So
was okay.
he's that guy that he's going to laugh first and then ask second.
Ask, right. And well, he's gonna laugh, then take a picture of you. Did
you get a picture? Okay. Well, see, he didn't. Now I'm not going to lie that I'm the same. Like, if you fall, I have one of my best friends is very klutzy with me, and she's prone to falling on all the things, and she's fallen many, and I'm going to laugh and take a video and then ask.
Hysterical.
I mean, I might ask if you're okay while I'm videoing. So I'm with you. But are you okay?
Oh, yeah, I'm fine. And it was just a nice little thing.
Lesson learned, you should eat during the day, folks.
Eat, and
maybe hydrate.
Hydrate a little bit. And coffee is not hydrating.
No.
Even though it's liquid, it is not hydrating.
All right.
So what is in your cup?
My philosophy, kidney stones later, is one water per coffee.
Okay.
Whatever. It's not right. Okay, so we won't
Well,
talk.
but it's still a plan.
It's not great. Okay, so today
Okay.
we are unveiling what is in this cup. I already have a Carole de tuna, which can either be a wrap or a salad, which is obviously tuna, and it's amazing. So I was whining a little bit. Not that I would ever whine. I was whining to our dear friend Lisa, who's one of the owners of this fine establishment.
Listen, she and Nancy are absolutely
yes,
wonderful.
I was just
say that. They're amazing people.
They are, and
they're
one's
so good
here
to us.
and one's there.
Yeah.
They are salt of the earth.
We found a home
Gems.
with these guys, with them, with these women. We found a home with them, and not only them, but these young people that work for them.
Amazing.
Yeah.
The operation, how busy they are, and how they've expanded into Cannonsburg. So both of them are truly salt of the earth humans. And I was whining to Lisa. Lisa's the one that deals. Nancy sort of runs away from me, smart.
And
Lisa,
rightfully so.
Yeah, and Lisa just, I don't know, she likes it. It's almost like abuse. But so I was like, I need a drink. I need a drink. I need a drink. So we're there with Lynn. So I'm starting to see a pattern.
Oh.
We were in the Cannonsburg Chico.
Okay.
And we came up with what's in here. This is the Carole. What is in the Carole? It's never going to be decaf, so don't ever order my drink with decaf, because that's blasphemy. Okay, so if you do, don't tell me.
It should be illegal.
It should be illegal, like an X.
Yeah.
So it's brown
Big
sugar, big red X, brown sugar, of course.
Okay, of course.
White chocolate, vanilla. Mine is made with oat milk. That is the Carole. Brown sugar, white chocolate, vanilla, oat milk. You can get it with almond milk or regular milk.
I was going to say, can you replace?
Absolutely.
Switch out any of those?
Oh, I'm absolutely open.
And it's still,
to
is
other
it still
milks.
a Carole if you
It's the Carole,
switch?
Unless you get decaf, and then you just don't even talk to me. What do we think?
I love it. I mean,
You're
I'm not really like that kind of thing, but
Are
I'll try
you
it.
gonna try it?
I will try it simply because it's
Girls, what do you think, ladies? Is it okay? They're very
Get
happy.
that 2 thumbs up
Two
from
thumbs
the studio
up.
audience.
Do you drink
That's awesome.
coffee? Okay, wait a minute. What does he drink? Water or something?
Runs marathon.
Oh, okay. That's great. No coffee ever? Look, the ninja's like trying to get away from our sight line, whatever I'm trying to say.
You have to understand something. Like he's like 12. So I mean, he's not even old enough to drink coffee yet.
Oh my God. Oh, what if he listen?
He's actually going to be 20. He's going to have for the first time. He's going to have a 2 in front of his age. He's going to be 20.
Is he kidding?
Yeah.
Is the man that's responsible for making me look 10 pounds thinner on this? We should stop.
No, he's really good at this.
Okay, but we might be angering him. So you're going to be 5'4", and I'm going to we're sorry. Okay, so all right.
We didn't mean any of that.
We didn't mean any of it. Okay, so all right, so let's get serious now. I don't know how you get serious after this. I want to know from you.
What do you want to know?
What made you do this? This is my dream, is to have a podcast. Oh, I should tell you this.
I know a guy.
Wow.
Listen, and I will tell you something before I tell you why. When Nick...
Well, he's not going to help me now. He's never going to talk to me again.
No, listen.
All right.
He will probably dump me for you.
Well, he might. That would be smart.
In a heartbeat.
I mean, I don't want to just say.
But here's the thing. We had talked about, kicked around, having a little podcast network down in this neck of the woods, right?
Yes.
So, have 5 people, right? That each one would do a show a certain day of the week, right? It would be like Monday morning, 6 o'clock, you get this show. Tuesday, whatever, you get this show. We don't really want to do them live because we want to be able to put the best product out there and not put anybody on the spot.
Right. Look, some people get nervous.
Right.
And which is understandable. So let me, I got to tell you something real quick. Just as a shameless plug to my friend over here, who's going to be my producer too. I didn't put on there because I always forget to mention this. I did have a talk show. I did back in the day when I was a minute younger. I actually worked for a home care and hospice in Wheeling, and I would get up. Yeah, I got up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and I went on WWVA and WOVK, and I was the news girl. And I would talk.
You were a news girl.
I loved every second of it. I couldn't wait.
Did you know that before you guys got together? Was that what did it, the news girl thing?
No.
No?
Okay. No. She said no. No, so I would do.
I didn't know that.
No,
but that's
a lot of people. But so it started off doing the news gig, and my very first ever newscast was when there was the flood in Wheeling.
No kidding.
So I was as I mean, my hands were as clammy as the rain coming down. I'm like, I wanted to go, here's a flood, seek shelter, get up. I was like, oh, it was the scariest moment of my career. And so it went from there on VA. Tom Miller, who was a voice of he's the voice of Ogilvy, so that fabulous raspy voice talking about the Festival of Lights was Tom Miller. He has since passed, God rest his soul. He taught me how, when you're on air and you were doing a lighter story, to smile, and that changed my speaking, my professional speaking. But so then went on to WOVK, which is the #1 country station in Wheeling. I was behind the scenes of Jamboree in the Hills for years with all these country artists. Yeah, but then I got a talk show. Okay. And that was my favorite job ever. And it paid like $4.17 an hour.
What
and
was
I didn't
it called?
care. It was called Coffee with Carole.
There's your podcast.
There it is.
There it is, right there.
But I love asking people questions. Becca just will say all the time, like, I want to know about people. Like,
Sure.
I want to know
I'm
why.
the same way.
Well, I know you and I are literally, if we traced our tree, we're cousins.
Oh, there's no doubt about it.
There's zero
There's no doubt
in my
about
mind.
it. There's no doubt about it.
So why did you do this? For that reason? Because you want, this is not just networking. This is outreach. It
is. And what we started to do, I write that blog, and I call it a blog for lack of anything better, but, I started keeping a journal. I have a mentor, Marvin Williams, and Marvin is one of the greatest characters of all time.
I don't know him.
He's brilliant. He's from Texas. He lives in Texas.
Okay.
Grew up in Cleveland. But anyway, in the late 90s, I was introduced to Marvin, and he does what I do, but at a much higher level. And he's been doing it for a long time. He's in his early 70s now, and he's still a mentor. So he suggested that I keep a journal. Okay. So I started doing that, and the way it was explained to me was when you wake up in the morning, get a journal, keep it on your nightstand. When you wake up in the morning, before your feet hit the ground, pick it up, write down first thought in your mind, whether it's a word, a sentence, or an entire page. Write it down, close it, go about your day. At the end of the day, before you go to bed, open it up and see if what you did that day was in alignment. Right. So I started doing that, filled a bunch of journals, and then I decided to cheat a little bit, and before I'd go do my routine, have my coffee and everything, and I would sit there and go, I would look at what I wrote, and then just take it and run with it, and then I started to post it on Facebook.
Which I love your posts.
And that's where it all started. So it really kind of all morphed from that, and doing what I do for a living in business development and creating a network, people like you and Lynn, and there are people in the region that are doing such cool things and things that people don't know about and should know about. Right?
Absolutely.
So I just thought, in the way Nick and I connected, I've worked with his mother I've known his mother for a long, long time, over 20 years, and I was retired. I was doing a little bit of consulting just to keep myself busy. Yeah. And his mother got a job with. She's a chemical engineer. She's got 2 degrees from Pitt, chemistry and chemical engineering.
Wow.
And she's like, she's beyond intelligent,
yeah,
right? So she's remarkable. And one of the best engineers I've ever worked with in 40 years, right? So when she took this job, and she said, hey, I like this job with GPI, and I'd like for you to, we want to build a water and wastewater practice. I'd like for you to come and help me, and blah, blah, blah. And I said, how could I be in this business that long and never have heard of this company? Right? Because part of my job is, you know this, to know who your competitors are,
100%.
right? Who your potential partners and everything.
Well, and squash them.
Right, right. Oh, yeah. No.
Sorry.
Don't,
I'm not a Capricorn.
Don't divulge the secrets.
I didn't say
anyway,
that. I'm not a
long
Capricorn.
story short, I came back and I came into that. And just talking about this type of thing, she said, Nick does this,
Oh my!
She didn't tell me he was a production ninja, but she told me he's does these things. He's been dabbling in it for for a good while. So we started kicking it around, and we said, hey, let's give it a shot, right? So I made a list of people who I find interesting, right? And we decided we were just going to tell stories. We were going to be storytellers. We're going to bring interesting people that wouldn't really be out there, that the average person walking down the street would be interested in their story as well. Right. So that's what we did, and it started from there. And now how many people have we interviewed, Nick? Maybe 23, 24, something like that. We've published 19, and we have probably another 7 or 8 that are right now we're in the process of scheduling. And so it's gone very well.
Well, and like I said, I've watched a couple of them, and they kept my interest, which I'm a little bit hyper. So to keep my interest, first of all, was super impressive. But really,
and I love the visual piece.
Right. Well, and you and I are cut from the same cloth, and we are trying to make a difference and make people realize that it's okay. And I have to say one other thing, what you're trying to do, and I've always known this about you, you've always tried to help boost the community that you're in or work on making other people realize their true worth. And so that's why we immediately clicked. And
absolutely.
if you look at your social media and you look at my social media, they sort of mirror each other. We are very transparent, we are very raw, and we're authentic. And that's a piece that for Becca and I as a couple, again, couldn't be more opposite, couldn't be more authentic. And that is why in 2022, it's critically important for me in my job, in my personal life, in my relationships, in all of the benevolent things that we like to do and the give back. We have an opportunity every day we get up, and some days are just not great, right? Like, wow, I mean, I'm trying to lead a team and be a good partner and be a good mom and, be a good aunt or whatever friend, all the things I'm trying to do.
Right.
And I some days fail miserably.
Oh, absolutely.
But I recognize, okay, hold up, wait a second. And I'm, I try to be positive, but Becca sees that other side, the side that beats myself up. But the next day I feel like, wait a minute. I learned from this, or we can change this.
I get another shot. I get another try.
We can adjust and adapt, and that's who you are.
Listen, I thank every morning. The first thing I do is thank God for another day, right? And I thank God for His love and grace and patience and compassion with me, because I'm a flawed human being. I'm far from perfect, and I still get things wrong. I still fall down every once in a while, right?
I used to write that in my journal every day, and I haven't done it for a couple of months, and I was upset. I wrote every day, thank you, Jesus, for this day.
I do. I express gratitude for another chance. I had a buddy, Lenny Porzinski, and Lenny's the greatest, and he's a funeral director for his career.
That's a great name, Lenny. Lenny what?
Porzinski.
What a great
North
name.
Belvern Porzinski Funeral Home. I'm not advocating it. I hope nobody has to use them. But anyway, but Lenny was on North Belvern Council. He was a councilman, and when I was a young engineer doing this stuff, and project manager, not engineer, but I had North Belvern Borough. We did some work there, and we became friends. And he's older than me. He became kind of a mentor as well. And I remember every day I would see Lenny. I'd say, Lenny, how you doing? And he would say the same thing every single time. Every day above ground's a good day.
Right.
And and he meant it, and that's how he lives his life.
Absolutely.
So you have to be grateful, right?
And because, and it's hard for me sometimes because, I just admitted that I'm a Capricorn. I'm a control freak.
I am too.
I am. I knew that.
See?
Because our birthdays are, our personalities literally are almost identical.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we do realize we're flawed. We do realize it's okay to make mistakes. It's the getting up and saying it is another opportunity. We have another chance. And for the people listening, watching, all the things with us, there are so many opportunities, and I just do want to say, because I had so many deep, raw conversations this week, it's okay not to be okay.
It is. And you mentioned young people, and I think it's...
Why is this not coming by you? Go ahead. I showered. Go ahead before you say it. Keep going.
You're trying to imply Gen Z, those 15 to 25-year-olds,
yes.
right? Mm-hmm. A friend of mine pointed out, directed me to a study that Harvard just did on that group. And it's an enormous group, by the way. It's like 75 million people. And those are the people that are going to be running this country in the next 20 years, okay, and moving forward. But they asked a cross-section of them, however many, what their 3 most important issues were. And all of them cited mental health.
Yep.
Right? So these young people were thinking about these things because they're watching us,
right.
and they're seeing how we're navigating this mess of
and it's a mess.
It is a mess. When you think about the Roe decision, that to me, if you take the word abortion out of that issue, okay, and you realize that 75 or 8 or no, it's 100 over 100. I don't know. I think 175 million women in the United States. It's ballpark, right? So if you take that word out of that situation and you say that a basic human right was stripped from 175 million Americans, right? It takes on a completely different connotation, right? Because that word is a flashpoint. But take that out of it because at its core, that's what it is, right?
Right. And so certainly that was sort of the catalyst for some of the conversations that I've had with people. And I'm talking about people at work or clients or colleagues. But if you feel strongly that it's affected you negatively, there are resources out there. There are organizations who want your help.
That's exactly true.
So if you can sort of pivot your thinking for a minute, and I mean, I woe is me with the best of them. Like, oh my gosh, I have to do all these things. I've got 20 events coming up, and I have less staff, and how am I going to do this? And I'm tired, and I'm not in the shape I was in 2019. And I'm like, what? Stop. You have people who want to help. There are resources. So there are people out there that will listen to you, that need your help. That think about this. There's an organization that might, you may not want to get up and speak in front of people. You may not be able to give that $100 check, but you can stuff envelopes, right?
Oh, there's so many things that you can do.
That's just one example.
Things, yes.
I've been on a myriad of boards of directors from soup to nuts. I mean, literally opposite ends of the spectrum. And each of them I've done something different, but equally as necessary. So if you feel this anger or you feel depressed, if you can tell yourself, I'm going to give back, I'm going to do something with this energy that's positive. And that's my whole entire platform for life. We do all these events. I mean, and I should mention that, I am.
And those events are amazing. And I want to talk a little bit about how that all came to be, because, the food truck festival and Corks and Kegs, that stuff's amazing.
Thank you.
And they're very successful.
Well, it came to be because I had an opportunity to come back and work for the Observer Reporter. And we created an event division out of nothing, literally out of nothing. Yeah. And it wasn't me. People will say, oh, you did. No. It was a we, because we were able to say, well, let's try these events. And then they let me go with my crazy ideas. And I always look at it from the perspective of, we need sponsorship to do this, but I always sat on the side of the desk being asked for the sponsorship. So I was at Washington Crown, the gallery of the waterfront, being asked. So I would say, what can we do to make it worth their while? So we started from that premise, and we built around the event around it, knowing you're going to have a lot of expenses, but that wasn't the goal. The goal was, what can we do that's different for our communities?
Right.
So it became Corks and Kegs and the Greater Pittsburgh Food Truck Festival and Kids Fest, an auto show, because I would say, going to Pittsburgh, people don't want to travel over bridges, nor do they want to go through a tunnel. Right. They didn't want to. We created an auto show. Right, we didn't want to. So what else? What else can I speak of? The holiday market here in downtown. But All for Her also was one that we created from a seedling.
Tell me about that, because that's the one out of all of them that I'm not intimately familiar with.
Well, because it's all for her. But you can come. We have guys. Okay. We have guys.
No, it's okay.
Or we could put a wig on you.
Ooh.
That would be great. You have great legs.
I do.
Okay, anyway,
Listen,
I know.
I can pull that off.
I totally.
pull that
But
off.
it's not. It is all for her. But for example, Christian comes every year and he sets up a booth for cricket because they were a sponsor and he had no problem being there to represent the guys of the group, and it was fantastic.
And I want to get into some sponsorships. We're going to have that conversation as well
right.
because I want to do that.
Well, and absolutely, I'd love you to. But so All For Her was created for one reason. It was created prior to the pandemic, at a time when I recognized that we have women of all ages who are in different aspects of their life. So you might be coming out of school and you're about to start your career, or you might want to change your career, or you might be a stay-at-home mom, or you might be a working mom, or you might be retired. There are needs, and there are areas where I felt that there was a void. Okay. And so we partnered with the Washington Health System and Stephanie Wagner, who's a dear friend, and we said, what about doing this? And so it started as a seedling. The tagline is inspire, educate, motivate, and that is literally what we do.
That's awesome.
And it's at Tanger this year again. We have a panel of women who will get up and be raw. They'll be asked questions from a moderator, and it's raw, and it's genuine, and it's sincere.
That's beautiful.
And people cried last year and reached out for help with resources. And of course, there's shopping. And of course, there's eating. And of course, there's AJ playing the tunes in the background.
Sure.
So you walk away, you might have cried, you definitely laughed, you might have danced, you definitely shopped, but you feel different. That's what, and so, but each event.
That's what's important.
That's what's important. But each of our events, big or small, has a nonprofit component. We pick an organization every year and we give a donation. Or if you want to be a sponsor and you don't want your booth and you want to give your booth to a nonprofit, that's what's important to me as a person, but that's also what's important to our newspaper. So, I know people, like I said, have strong feelings about media outlets, and that's okay, you can. But we're here in your town and we're trying to make a difference, and that's why I came back. I came back to Washington because I felt like we could make a difference. And it's always, I'm just a little cog in that wheel of the we.
Oh, yeah,
I'm a
absolutely.
I might be a loud cog, I might be a messy cog, but I am one of many people.
Right.
And the message I want to give is that there's so much available in our community for people. And I'm not talking about business, I'm talking about what's on your heart, where you want to make a difference. You don't know, call me, call you. We'll help get them in touch with.
The community piece is so important. I mean, I work all over the country with my job, and a lot of places talk about community, but this place actually does.
We
community.
do. We're doers here.
It does community, and there's a dramatic difference there.
100%. And so, what has happened to me? I'm an old lady too. You're an old man. I'm an old lady, and I'm okay with it. I'm embracing it. Becca makes me put all the creams and the potions and the things that she does so that I don't look old. We're fighting as much as we can, but at the core of who I am is the same. I am who I am, like Popeye. And what I am is I'm trying to be a person I've been through some stuff. I can speak to suicide. I can speak to mental health. I can speak to what we've gone through as caregivers for my mom, as a professional, as a woman in a male industry.
Absolutely.
I could talk about that. I can. I've done it. It wasn't easy, and it pushed me to be who I am. But the core of who I am is a person who wants to make a difference. And
that comes from adversity, right?
Yeah.
It comes from all of that, what you just said, overcoming that.
Right.
Okay, you change along the way.
Yes.
Sometimes you don't even realize.
No.
I
Definitely don't. I don't know about you, but I could be in the moment and I feel like, okay, and the Capricorn, it has to be this way. It has to be my way because it's the right way. And you're in it and you're going to do it and you finished it and you don't realize till a week or two or 10 or a year driving down the road. And I think, are you kidding me? I missed look at that lesson. And it slaps
exactly
you
right.
right in the face like that.
Right.
But I do try, and that's the difference. And anybody can do it if you just realize that you're needed, right? People need you no matter what you're going through. Someone needs you. And if you've got anger, if you've got depression, you can channel that into something else. And that's where I'm at 54 years old today in July of 2022.
54 years old.
Well, I know you're a little older than me.
You're a baby. You're a child.
Oh, a child.
my
No, he's a
God.
child.
Oh, and by the way,
I don't know what you're going to say. This drink is amazing.
the Peel thing, your luncheon, it's going to be videoed.
Oh, by him. Oh, no.
Kelly has him doing all of her events.
I think we better be nicer to him.
You probably should. Yeah.
It's okay that you don't drink coffee.
You should probably be nice to him because.
I mean, what angle is he going to shoot it from up high?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh no! Can we get him on a platform? We have to talk about this.
Yeah.
Why didn't you tell me that at the beginning of this?
I didn't get a chance. You were talking.
Oh, please.
I didn't want to interrupt
Oh, yeah, you're quiet. Whatever. I'm very excited about that. I do know we're at about the halfway point of sellout. I heard that yesterday.
Wow, cool.
So you know it has to sell out, Capricorn.
Well, I think that mine's in October. I'm doing the men's.
I'm coming.
The men's luncheon, and Nick has to go.
Right.
So to make sure that
Poor kid.
Is
it also at Rock Bottom at the waterfront?
No, it's at the Rivers Club. I do the men's at the Rivers Club because I don't think they expect as big a turnout because, men aren't really into that bonding thing and sharing.
You should be. We should change that.
Well,
You're going to change that.
I get a lot of people comment about that I overshare, right?
I
said the other day.
No.
I talked about depression.
Respectfully disagree. Go ahead.
And the depression was the best thing that ever happened to me because I became me out of that.
Right.
If it wasn't for that,
right,
I don't know where I'd be right now. I don't know what I'd be doing. Right. But it led to everything bad that's ever happened in my life can be traced back to that.
Right.
And then all of a sudden it flipped because I started to let myself feel all of it instead of hiding from the bad stuff, hiding from the hurt.
Right.
Okay, I let myself feel it. Then all of a sudden, you're able to process it, and now that depression is tied to everything good that's going on in my life.
What years were you affected by depression? Is it like 5 years ago, 7 years ago?
No, actually, it started about 20 years ago.
Oh,
and it was something that may have even been there longer than that, but I didn't realize it, right? Because I kind of hid from it.
Yeah.
But there was this nagging thing that was just like right here, that I couldn't put my finger on. And then when I finally asked for help after I had blown up a marriage and an entire family and all of these different things, then I finally did. And then I talked to somebody and it came full circle, right? And it was just like, oh, you know what? This stuff's like my fault.
Right.
It was me.
Yeah.
It wasn't like all those people, and it was like, it was me. So,
well, and that's a hard thing to recognize. Like, so truly kudos to you because it's A, difficult to recognize. It's B, more difficult sometimes to accept.
Right.
And then C, to actually do something about it. But that's amazing. You're the one that's writing the book.
Well, I have been writing one for about 5 years.
So it started with the journal.
Started with the journal.
I love this idea, and I do love a good notebook.
It's a great. I've gone through. I can't even tell you how many.
It's and it's truly amazing what writing something down and going back and looking at your notes to see what it makes it real. It makes you honest in some degree.
Sure.
It's like, oh, this is what I felt that day. This is what I. But so. I love that you said that, and I love that you do not overshare. Have the person who says that call me. You have my number.
No, and the thing of it is,
I'll address it.
Yeah, no. The thing of it is, if you don't tell your story, right? When you do what we do, we're out in the public eye. Your story's out there,
right?
So if you're not the one holding the pen, okay, what's the message? What is your life message? And like you said, you want to make a difference.
Right.
You want to make a difference. And in order to do that, you have to be the one telling your story.
Right.
And it's got to be real. It's got to be raw. It's got to be real because people see through that.
100%. And it's about collaboration. They will see through it.
Right.
And it's about collaboration. And that's the whole piece for me that I love the most about that you're doing this because you're bringing so many different people, whether it's here or wherever the conversation's being held. But I think this is super. It's important. It's critical, and it's. I mean, you're doing your own gig. It's no different than doing that radio show I did, and it made a difference. I met Scott Becker of the Trolley Museum. It was 1992, 3 or 4. Maybe 5. I'm old. Whatever. One of the 90 years, and he came, and the show first started at 6:00 in the morning on a Sunday. Now, the only people who were listening were my mother and an occasional person that was going to work, and it was fine. But it grew, and the time slot changed, and Scott Becker came on. That was the first time I met him, talking about the Trolley Museum, and he rang his bell at the end of that show.
That is
anybody,
so cool.
But back then, I realized the importance at that age, and that was how many years ago, of utilizing a platform for good, which is what you're doing right here, right now.
That's what we're trying to do.
All right.
And hopefully we're having some success. But
I think you are.
There's so many different ways. The people, and getting back to Tom Mosser and the Really Big Faces exhibit, right? Which was very funny. I
have a big face.
Well, he
Literally.
He told us a story, Nick and I, about how they came up with that name, right? And he has a friend who's a writer, and they were trying to, what are we going to call this? We got this big thing, and the guy just said, he said, why don't you just call it Really Big Faces?
I love it.
Right? And that's what they did.
Right.
But the stories, and how I met him, I have a dear friend, Lynn Banaszak, who she put a post on Facebook that she was part of this exhibit and that you could do sponsorships, right? So I went to Tom Mosser Art page on Facebook, and I looked at it, and I thought, oh, wow, this is really cool, and I'd like to support Lynn. So I reached out to him and made a donation to sponsor her. And I said, by the way, I do a podcast. I'd love to have you on the show and talk to you about this exhibit. He said, let's do it. And that's all it was.
You're kidding.
That's exactly all it was. And then he invited us down one day to do it. We went down. It was at the Energy Innovation Center.
I saw those cool pictures.
Which is phenomenal, right?
I saw those pictures.
We went down and he got a few of the really big faces.
Right.
And these people were absolutely amazing.
So
right?
it was all a fundraiser, the whole part of it.
Fundraiser. And
See?
he had been doing this. He had been doing this since before COVID, doing these paintings, right? And he would just reach out to people again who interested him, right? Take their picture, and he would do this art of his.
But this whole football, basketball,
he
that's
did
amazing.
83 of these things, 83 big faces and one really big golden retriever because he did his dog. They're almost 6 feet tall. I mean, they're huge, right? So, but the story was so. I had never met this guy. I knew a few of the people, like Andrew Stocky was one, Paul Alexander, people that that I've been connected with, Lynn Banaszak, as I said. So he said, I want you to meet a few people. I said, okay. So we were going down there to interview him. So he had a couple of young people there, and they started to tell their stories, right? And he was sitting there. We had a whole table, and I was at one end and he was at the other. And the whole reason we were there was to interview him, but we wound up doing our longest episode. It was almost, an hour and a half, Nick?
Wow.
And he probably talked about himself for 3 minutes total. He kept deferring to them and pulling things out of them.
That's a leader.
And afterwards, he told me, because he knew all these people, he said, they actually shared things that he didn't even know about them.
And that's collaboration, man. You put it at a table.
And it was such, it had such an impact because the exhibit was going to close the next Friday. This was on a Friday.
Okay.
So he asked if we could promote it. So we rushed that through. Nick got his editor, and
it's very fancy.
Wow.
Fancy.
So we were able to get it out there that Monday, and he said they loved it. Everybody loved it. He said, "Why don't you guys come back for the show?" It was the following Friday, 6 to 10. It was that catered, and they had all this music, a DJ, and all this really cool stuff. So we didn't know what to expect, right? Because we don't do it live.
Right.
And we usually have somebody come in and sit down and talk with us. So we said, well, we'll just wing it. We'll play it by ear. We talked to 12 people that night.
Wow.
People would and he kept sending people over. One day he said, this girl comes up and he comes over and he goes, hey, I'm sending Daisy over. She's great. You're going to love her. And he walks away. So I'm sitting there, okay. And then this girl comes over. He said, hi, I'm Daisy. Tom said I should come talk to you. I said, hey, how are you? Know nothing about her, right? Didn't even know her last name. So how do you?
I love that.
How do you talk to
the
somebody
improv
like
part of that? I
before,
love that. Right.
So, but that one, but the people.
I love it.
That young girl Andrea was, and you need to listen. This girl, she's an artist. She's deaf since birth, and she shares a studio space with Tom. And you could tell that he really, really cares about this young lady, right? And she's very sweet, quickest smile you ever saw in your entire life. And so he said, I'm sending her over, and her mother's going to come and translate for her in sign language, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm sitting between them. So she's here, and her mother's here, and her dad was over there. And but just stories, right?
Right.
Stories. So we talked. She hugged me. She was so sweet and so kind, and told her story about how she got into art and how these different things. But then her father said, she did an exhibit where she painted what art sounds, what sound looks like to her. She painted what sound looks like. Think about this. So then he goes on to say that they're at the show, and a blind fellow is at the art show. And he said to her father that, I wish I could see the art. Well, they took him over, and they took his hand.
Put his hand on it.
And they put it on the painting, and he started to cry because he said, I can feel the storm. See, there's a scene about a storm and a calm. He said,
I'm not going to cry on the
Now, listen,
podcast now.
So, but this is the kind of stuff, and I'm sitting there trying to listen to this and try to be like remotely normal, and I'm that's a struggle for me on a good day.
Right, same. But
when you
that's
have people, yeah.
Now, see, that's authentic. That is amazing.
But that's the kind of conversations you and I can have. Lynn and I have those conversations, right?
Absolutely.
And that's the amazing thing about the network that we all share.
Right.
Right.
Well, I want to do an art. I want to do. Now you've inspired me. We're going to do something with Tom in
Go to Tom
Washington.
Art
I'm going. We're going to do a fundraiser or something, but you and I are going to do it together.
We'll do a fundraiser, absolutely.
All right.
And this guy's phenomenal. We're going to do it.
I'm not joking. Are you?
No, I'm totally serious.
I mean, we're putting it on the airwaves.
I would love to get him down here, and he will do it. And he'll.
I can't.
Listen, it's the community that's out there.
Right.
Like, like I said, we have this network, but it's kind of here, right?
Right.
But out here around it.
Yeah.
Okay. The next ring out.
Which is what we should be doing. And
Exactly.
there's an art community, an artists community here in Washington that is starving for this. Pun intended. See what I did there?
Yeah,
starving artist.
I got it. I got it.
I'm funny. But we're doing. I am hysterical.
See, and listen,
this is Becca. This is when she's like, "You're not funny at all."
Well, I get that all the time. Yeah. I'm hysterically funny, and you know
to
what?
yourself, I know.
Well, yeah.
Does anyone really laugh at you?
No.
Well, he
No.
definitely doesn't. I mean, your producers, like, you two are done. Yeah. Have I mentioned how good this drink is?
He's not even paying attention to it. He's just like,
Yeah, he's bored.
He keeps looking at it. This has to be over soon.
He knows, like,
almost over?
Whatever they're saying about this art thing, I think it's going to involve me somehow. Oh, it's going to involve you. I am. All right, so that's it. We're doing it.
We're doing it. No, absolutely. And I think it's something that,
I'm not joking.
that our community here will respond to.
Absolutely.
I really believe it.
Absolutely. Some sort of fundraiser.
Yeah.
All right.
We'll do it. I'm in.
I'm in.
So tell me what inspires you? I know you've got some quotes here. Share a quote with me that inspires you.
Well, I'm gonna.
Who's your favorite writer?
Well, Maya Angelou is my favorite. I mean, she's my favorite of all favorites, and I've always loved
phenomenal.
her. I've always loved her.
I've read her stuff.
Well, who inspires me is my mom. So Soph Dog was, and always shall be my greatest inspiration. No matter what year of my life I'm in, all I want to be when I grow up is her. But so for me, my favorite book is the Bible. So that's my favorite book. That's my favorite author.
There you go. Well, see, now that's where do you go from there? There's nowhere to go above it,
But I love, like, I'll tell people that person on Facebook that I am, that dorky, positive, quote-driven. There's a quote on the bottom of my signature. Every week I change it. So every week
I was going to
when
ask
you
you that
email
because
me
I got your email and I was going to say, what is?
Every week it's different. So every
That's
week I
very
change the quote. Sometimes the quote's from my mom. Sometimes it's from an author. It could be Maya Angelou. But I am that dorky, let's be positive,
Right.
because I feel that we can be that. I feel we can be positive in a given day.
Absolutely.
So my favorite quote of all time, for sure, is I've learned that people will forget what you said. People will forget what you did. But people never forget how you made them feel.
Yeah, I love
And you're the same.
I try to be.
No, you are.
I try to be, and
You're not funny though, but you definitely make people feel good.
Well, that's we'll have to debate that.
Okay.
Lynn, you think I'm funny, right?
She's just
I
nice.
know she does.
Lynn's
No,
just
she's
nice.
Listen, she has never. That woman would never lie. She's.
Well, she may think you're funny, but it's okay. She's just okay. Lynn, you don't think he's really funny, do you? She does. All right. Why am I whispering when it's on a microphone?
I don't know.
It's making me feel better.
I know. See, that's
my radio voice just now.
All
All right, you're a little
cool
funny.
how you did that.
I did. It can go down. I can go up and down. Yeah.
Can you really? That's awesome.
I had bronchitis a minute ago, so it can go really deep. I sounded like Darth Vader for about 4 days. I'm not contagious anymore, guys. It's all good.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. So we're gonna do this art show, which is really cool.
We're doing an art show.
I'm excited.
I'm going to be your
this.
co-host, podcaster on the side of
and listen,
when you're going on vacation.
Here's what
not
we're gonna
really
do.
joking.
Here's what we're gonna do. Because I get a young fellow, Jack Cadwallader, and you'll meet Jack. Jack, whenever he's around, because he said, "Well, I want to do a podcast, right?" So Nick and I talked. Well, so let's ease into it, right? And so
you didn't ease.
when every once in a while he'll come in when he's available. I mean, he'll sit in and co-host.
Oh, nice.
And yeah,
but there was no easing. You realize that you came in here like
Yeah.
guns blazing. So was this easing?
But I knew you could do it. I knew you were up for it.
Oh, no. I mean, you personally. You didn't ease into having a podcast. No.
No, well,
This is
you know
not
what?
easing.
Well, listen. When I was blessed that the first show we did was with MJ Calloway. Okay, and MJ's a dear friend, and I knew she
Right.
would be awesome. And
Right.
and so we go and we go to the appointed location and time, and MJ and I were there, and Nick starts coming in, and I thought he was coming in with a video camera on a tripod. Well, he starts bringing all this stuff in.
This is no joke.
And and then I see that this kid comes walking in carrying his stuff, and I said, "Who's that?" He said, "Oh, that's my assistant."
Oh.
Yeah, he's a great assistant and an editor.
I mean, maybe we should interview him on the podcast next time.
I don't know.
How many marathons did he run?
How many marathons have you run, Nick?
3.
Oh, he spoke. Is this the first time he spoke on your podcast?
Oh yeah, he doesn't. Oh yeah, he doesn't like to talk. He doesn't. Yeah, he
3
doesn't-
marathons.
3 marathons.
I think our goal should be, so we're going to do some art exhibit / fundraiser.
Slash marathon.
Oh no.
No, okay.
I will Peloton. I'm not
what
running.
we have to do-
Have
what
you
we-
ever seen Phoebe Buffet on Friends Run? Okay.
Same.
Same.
We have to figure out a local charity.
Yes, we'll do that.
You do that. I'll take care of getting Tom.
All right, we'll
and
have a
I'll
meeting.
introduce you to him.
All right, we'll have a meeting.
We'll have him. And
Okay.
You pick the charity and.
All right, that's one. Number 2 is I'm going to do this podcast gig with you, whatever you need.
That's what I want you to. I want you to co-host whenever you're available.
All right.
I'll reach out to you and
I have a
and
lot
if
of
you
spare
have,
time.
If you have anybody
What?
interesting that
Okay.
you want to bring
Oh,
on
I
an
have-
interview,
oh,
and that's
okay.
what I do with Jack. So Jack will call me. He'll say, "Hey, what about this?"
Yeah.
Right. And so he called me one day and he says, "Hey, do you think that Phil Bork would be a good guest on the podcast?" And I said, "Depends on what he wants to talk about." Okay, come on. You know. I said, "Jack."
That was funny, actually.
Yeah, it's a dumb
That was
question.
funny.
See?
One time.
Well,
I'm gonna start
but here's the
hashmarking
thing:
it.
the jokes don't work if you're not paying attention. You have to actually be listening. That's how.
Is that your story?
It doesn't work if you're
Okay,
not
that
paying
is funny
attention,
too, because
right?
that's
See?
ridiculous.
'Cause
That's
it's like-
2.
yeah,
I'll
you
give
gotta-
you 2.
You got to be listening.
All right. Wait,
Okay.
there's a third thing I was going to say we're going to do together. Now I've already forgotten. 54-minute pause. Oh, nothing about my coffee. The third thing is we're going to interview him,
You know what?
and we're going to get him to drink coffee. Wow. We're doing it.
Well, we should. We will interview him. So, all right. So let's do the art thing. Let's make
Yeah,
that happen.
we're doing it.
Let's make that happen.
We're
that is
saying
so
we're going to
cool.
make it happen. I'm officially looking at the audience and the camera.
And I know
We're doing it.
someone who
We're doing it.
owns an insurance business that may want to be a signature
Possible.
sponsor of that. We'll have to see.
Thumbs
if we
up.
can- Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And other
so-
things to talk about on the horizon. So we had a lot to do.
We have a lot to do, and so what? Give me a parting thought. We've been talking for
It's
a
a
while.
long time.
So where are we at, Nick?
Can you edit any of this out?
Yeah, he's at it.
107.
All right, let's go a little bit more so we make sure we have
What? All right.
we have a little bit of leeway. So because he the funny stuff that I say.
Yeah, he cuts it out.
that all out.
I'm going to cough now, too.
So-
You don't cut anything out?
No, I've never cut anything out.
Never?
Any of the episodes, no. Nothing's been cut out.
Have you ever seen the picture I posted of him sleeping in the truck?
No. I can't wait to see it.
Oh, listen,
Now I said bronchitis. Look what happened.
We interviewed Gene Barr, who was the president of PA Chamber, business industry, and we went out to Harrisburg and did it in his office. Okay.
Yeah.
So I picked Nick up, and it's early, like 6:30ish. So he sleeps all the way out in the car, 3 hours.
He's 20.
Yeah. So we go in and we do the interview, and we're leaving. We went and got something to eat. I bought him lunch. He did great, and he said, "Jim, you know what? I'm gonna work. I'm gonna stay awake the whole way home." So he gets out his laptop. Okay. Before he even did, I looked over and he's sound asleep. Slept 3 hours on the way back.
Well,
So we were together 8 hours that
But-
day, and he slept 6 of them.
but in his defense, young
I'm
people,
kinda bored.
Well, I was thinking it. I wasn't definitely going to say it.
You were.
But I think he probably
said
listens
it
to
for you
you all the
because I didn't
time.
want-
That was nice of you to do
It was
that.
easier if I said it myself than.
And young people can sleep on a dime.
Oh yeah.
Don't you
Yeah.
think?
Yeah, it was good.
It's
though.
okay. He's okay.
But he's done. And what I would ask you to do as well, and I'd like to get your feedback on it. We did an episode a couple ago with Nick's mother and her core team at GPI on diversity and inclusion, because that's a big deal for GPI.
Right.
And I thought we did it at Chico Bocello in Canonsburg. I thought it was a great episode.
Oh, I can't wait to watch it. Has it been aired?
It has. Yeah.
So we
it's
call
on,
these
it's on
episodes.
YouTube.
It's
episode
episodes.
shows. I don't know what to call them.
I don't know. I like it.
I
don't know what the cool word is.
I don't either. And I have to
Episode
find
sounds
out.
like a TV show. I like it.
It does sound like a TV show.
I like it.
But I mean, is it a show? What is it? I don't know what. It's a podcast.
Wait, well, I mean, this is for sure a show. I mean, I don't know what all the others are, but this is 110%. Have they all been like this? Probably not. They're probably some are real serious.
We did not really. We did a couple.
Because you're
series.
fun. I mean,
you
yours
was fun. It was. We had a little
Oh,
bit
yours
of
was definitely
everything,
fun.
huh?
I started
Yeah.
to say you're funny just now, and I caught myself. I was going to say you're fun, and I'll stop it
and I
there.
missed it.
Yeah, you need to
stopped.
edit that out, will you? That would be $20.
And listen, I know, you don't want to tell me how much you love me because Becca's here every day.
I love you all a lot. I have
love
no
you
problem.
too. I love you too.
She knows. I go home. She knows how I am. Again, I am a giant hugger. COVID was horrible for me. I was
I
like,
know. Yeah, it was painful. It was
and I
painful.
couldn't.
Yeah. It was painful.
She's like this. She's this kind of hugger.
One arm. She gives you
She'll
2 arms.
She'll give you 2, but the other one doesn't
man.
actually happen.
It-
Now,
yeah,
if she
it's
really
kinda-
likes you, she'll hug you. She'll see. I'm probably in big trouble. Okay, I'm gonna give. You wanted parting words. This might be my last words here. After that, I mean, watch how she hugs when she goes to hug you. It's gonna
I
be
noticed
stiff.
that. I thought it was just me because I tried to hug her upstairs. And
Did she hug you?
I have that creepy old guy vibe going sometimes.
Sometimes a
So I
little
thought
bit.
maybe she just didn't want to. You
Yeah,
know.
I mean, it is kind of. Do you?
But it was a little awkward.
That's what I'm saying. Watch her. Well, she'll hug. No, she'll hug Lynn really nicely. Anyway, she doesn't like to hug me either. But
Lynn
so
hugs me. Lynn and I, we're very dear friends, and I'm blessed to have her. And honestly,
You have
I'm
a
not
lot of
just
great
saying
people.
that because she's sitting here, but one of the great blessings in my life is my friendship with that young lady. She's awesome.
I would agree with you.
Yeah.
She's pretty special. People don't even realize the hidden gem that she is.
Oh my God, yes.
Rock star. And she can sing.
I know.
I mean,
know.
yeah, you should have her sing on a show. We could do a whole show on like some sort of musical show.
We could do that.
All right. So what you want parting words? I
Words of wisdom, or just your
Me.
thought. What do you want? What is the thought that you want? The message you want people to take away from the chaos that we've just endured?
First of all, before I start, I'm going to say I'm never wearing Becca's shirt again because this thing is the most awkward thing. I don't even understand. It's sliding off and snagging on stuff, and it's real cute, but I'm never wearing it again. She has to dress me. Okay, that's
I
not.
borrow it?
Yeah, it would look. Oh, you would look good in this, like a Stevie Nicks vibe on you.
Yeah,
A Steve
yeah,
Nicks
it
vibe.
kinda
Okay.
would. Okay.
So, I feel very strongly about what is happening with our world. And regardless of your political views, whether you agree with what's happening in our society or disagree, I want to say to people that you have one chance. You have one chance to make a difference in this world. It doesn't have to be big. Every small act helps. I want you to think about the fight that you're fighting, if you're fighting with a loved one or over something political or just a disagreement. Is it really worth it? I want you to think about the fact that you have this day, you have this time that you're watching this show. You have the rest of your day, or if it's the end of the day, you have all tomorrow. I want you to think about the fact that whatever you're going through, someone's got it worse, and there are people out there that can help you. And I want our world as a world, as a society, to stop it. I want us to, we can disagree. It's okay. We can disagree. But I think it's time that we unite and we realize you are a person of worth. As Mary Jo Pogorski says, you need to have her on the show.
Oh, I know. Yes. Love her.
100%, or I'll interview her. Let's fight about that later. But no, really, truly.
We'll have her on. That's one of your co-hosts.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
But we have the ability to make a difference. It doesn't matter your socioeconomic status. It doesn't matter what's in your checkbook. It doesn't matter what you're wearing or driving. People out there need you, and we have a chance as a collective community to make a difference. That's it. It's on my heart heavy.
I love you, my friend.
I love you
Thank
more.
you so much for coming.
Thank you for
And
having me.
You are a Ripple person, okay? And what I mean by that is most people get distracted looking for the big splash, trying to make the big splash, but you get it. The impact is in the ripple, not the splash. So you're a ripple
That was
person.
good. Thank you. I love you.
I love you too.
Thank you. And you.
Let it go, Nick.
Wait, isn't he going to do that?
He's coming. Yeah, he's gonna clap. He knows he's real low key. He's like, that's how ninjas are. They don't move quick.
Ninja.
Yeah.